Merry Vlogmas, everybody. I'm Eric.
I'm Megan.
And we're from Supercollider doing our thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that really started us off with liking bad movies is a little show, you might have heard of it, it's called Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Independent of one another, we were both fans of the show from an early age, I think.
Well, I think, yeah, from your early age and from my more advanced age, but we both watched it a lot when it was new on TV. And we're still watching it today.
It's true.
On TV, new episodes on Netflix. So
yep. Over Thanksgiving, we powered through the entire gauntlet. Not just on Thanksgiving. I think it took us 2 days, didn't it?
Yeah, it did take us 2 days.
So
we could have done it, but...
Yeah. So, I think, what was it, the daytime ended really took a lot out of us, so...
Yeah.
That was a bad one. But today we wanted to talk about our favorite episodes, because we couldn't just pick one. So Eric has like you've got like a whole sort of categorization favorite thing that you decided to do, because there's different eras of Mystery Science Theater. There's different hosts. There's been 3 different hosts if you're unfamiliar with the program. Joel Hodgson, Mike Nelson, and Jonah Ray.
Right.
Who's not called Jonah Ray on the show, but it doesn't matter.
Jonah Heston.
Jonah Heston, that's his name on the show. But there was also a period of time where the format changed a little bit when the show went from being on the Comedy Channel to being on the Sci-Fi Channel. So those are the 4 eras that Eric's going to talk about.
Yeah, I couldn't pick one favorite. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll just pick like my top 3 favorites. But that was also hard. So I thought, well, maybe one from each era. And then I thought, maybe the top 3 from each era. And then Megan told me, oh, wait a minute then. You're going to be talking for an hour. And I thought, well...
These videos aren't supposed to be that long.
Yeah. So I picked my top 1 from each era. The first era is the Joel Hodgson era. And my favorite one from that is going to be, again, not a surprise to anybody, I think, Manos, The Hands of Fate. It's widely considered to be their best episode and the worst movie of all time, right?
It's not the worst movie of all time.
It's not the worst movie they've done on that show.
No.
By far.
But it was definitely, I feel like, a moment in the show where things kind of turned a corner a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because up until that point, they've been doing a lot of sort of schlock movies that you might see on like a Son of Svengoolie kind of thing. And this one was special.
It was kind of an experimental film, you know.
I am Torgo. I take care of the place while the master is away.
I remember watching it with friends. And it was one of the first ones I think I remember watching with a group of people. Most of the time I watched MST3K when it came on, because it came on every day on the Comedy Channel, or Sci-Fi eventually.
Yeah, it was called the Comedy Channel when it first came on. And
then
it became Comedy Central.
Right, yeah.
But they didn't have anything to show, right? That was the story. They didn't have enough just sort of content to show on their TV station. So this was like half of what they showed all day, every day on that one cable channel. And I watched them all again and again.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Manos, The Hands of Fate. The more you read about the movie and how it was made and the people involved in it and the decisions that were made in it, it becomes more and more sort of fascinating. But they did an exceptionally good job of riffing the movie, which, especially in some of the early seasons, you could tell they were still kind of like finding their feet a little bit sometimes. I don't know.
I felt so, but I think that it really kind of encapsulated the spirit of the kind of sort of sleepy, half-stoned Joel and kind of the sarcasm of the early bots in the show. Yeah. And that's really what I kind of like about that episode. There's so many others. I could talk about so many others, but we're limiting it. The next generation was the Mike Nelson generation, where Joel Hodgson was ejected from the Satellite of Love there was an escape pod hidden in a box of Hamdingers, and they transported Mike Nelson up to the Satellite of Love to take his place. Well, Mike Nelson was the head writer for that show for some time.
Yeah, I think he had always been the head writer.
I think so. And there were a lot of great episodes featuring Mike Nelson. The Comedy Central Mike Nelson, I'm going to do first the best one during that era. It's really, really hard to decide, but I have to go with Laserblast. Laserblast has Roddy McDowell in it and a bunch of other nobodies, and there's a race of like turtle aliens who lose a ray gun on Earth, and then some hippie dude with a girlfriend finds the gun in a necklace, and it makes like a hard thing in his chest, and
it's very bizarre. It's the one with the guy that just wears the torn shirt the whole time, right?
No, that's a different one.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, this is it's the reason I include it is because I've probably seen it more than any of the other ones from that period of time, because I just love the episode. It's a funny episode, a good episode, and while there are others with other recommendations, it's the funniest one and the most enjoyable one for me.
Sure.
The Mike Nelson era, when it was on Sci-Fi Channel, was accompanied by a change in one of the robots.
Right.
Who was it? Trace Ballou, who played Crow for many, many years, left the show, and a guy named Bill Corbett came in to take over the voice of Crow. And when it originally came on, I didn't like it. I didn't understand it. I didn't like the new Crow voice. It gave me a problem. They had like this kind of like story element, and there was a guy in a gorilla suit, and then there was the brain guy who was played by Bill Corbett, or he was an observer, and all this. I didn't get it. But years later, when I went back to it, I love those episodes. Those are some of my favorite episodes. It made it really hard to choose. But I'm going to choose The Girl in Gold Boots, because I've seen that episode 20 times. If I've seen it 20 times, I've probably seen it 30 times. It's got some of the best bad movie stuff in it. You don't even need to see the riffing, but the riffing is on point. I think just one of the most excellent, most fun, wacky things from that whole era. And then the show went off the air, and now it's been resurrected on comedy. Not on Comedy Central. Where is it now?
On Netflix.
On Netflix, right. On Netflix, and the Jonah Ray era, I think there's like 12 plus 6 episodes at this point. So of the 18 episodes, it's hard to say. I haven't seen them all multiple times. But the one I keep going back to is Carnival Magic, which is part of the first season, and is just... It's crazy. There's a talking monkey and a young woman who dresses like a boy, but then she becomes a woman, and then there's a guy who's like an evil animal trainer who abuses his tiger, and the guy that owns the monkey has some sort of special powers, and he's a middle-aged dude, but he's really ripped. He does push-ups, and the most perplexing thing about it is the monkey who can talk, he's a chimp who can talk, doesn't say anything interesting. The chimp will talk and will say something like, "Oh gee, my feet really hurt today." Or like, "Hey, what's for dinner? I hope it's not sandwiches again."
Yeah, it's a little reminiscent of a talking cat.
Yeah.
If you've never seen
there's no drunken Eric Roberts.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I do love a talking cat.
So those are my 4 favorites from the 4 eras. Now, let us in on your favorites.
Alright, so I just picked 2. Because I like a lot of them, and it kind of depends on what mood I'm in, if I want to see like a monster movie or whatever. But consistently, the 2 that I find the most enjoyable are Space Mutiny.
Oh, Space Mutiny is superb.
Yes, I enjoy Space Mutiny, and it's a lot of like just poor decision making in film. Like a lot of the things that are designed in it, like they ride around in these like little golf carts, but they have like shells on the front of them.
It's the Enforcer.
Right, but they're like the slowest moving vehicles ever. There's some poor editing where like a character dies, and then 2 scenes later she is in the scene. It's
the very definition of a bad movie, like the cheapness sort of thing that we like.
But the best part of it, in my opinion, is Reb Brown, who, if you're unfamiliar with this actor, is most notable for being sort of a beef chunk, but also screaming a lot. He does a lot of yell acting. And my favorite moment in Space Mutiny is he's driving one of these slow-moving Enforcer vehicles, and he just inexplicably screams, then pauses, and then gets out of the vehicle, does like a somersault, and then sort of like lands.
Yeah, like a tuck and roll.
So I really enjoy that film quite a bit.
Oh, there's so many other moments. The Stump Chunkman and Slab
They
Beefcake.
go through, they go through like a whole thing where they just keep giving him like ridiculous names.
And Cameron Mitchell has a fake beard glued on his face like a Santa Claus beard.
Any movie is made better with Cameron Mitchell.
And his young daughter is about 40 years old, and she wears this really revealing costume.
Very tight, yeah.
There's so many weird things
It's
in
a
that.
lot of poor choices.
I'm sorry I didn't pick that one. That one should have been one of my favorites. What's your next one?
So I'm just gonna do two. I didn't do like an in-depth thing, but my next one, and this is largely due to the fact that Eric and I quote it and talk about it more than I think other movies that they did on MST3K, and that is the Dick Contino classic, Daddy-O.
Oh, Daddy-O. Love that movie. I love that movie. That's another great one.
We do the want some, I want answers line pretty much all the time, and I just enjoy the fact that there is a clearly older man that's being sort of like touted as this teen heartthrob thing, with his pants pulled like all the way up to his tits.
And his belt buckle off to
His belt
one
buckle's
side.
off to one side, and he the song that they do in the movie is Rock Candy Baby,
Yeah.
which is kind of delightful.
There's a couple of songs, but the Rock Candy Baby's the best one because he grabs a girl off the dance floor and like he says, "Rock Candy Baby, oh yeah," and then lays one on her, and it's
And then
perfect.
Then they of course riff a song. I think it's
But
like,
hike up your trousers. Yeah. That's great. That's a great one.
So that one's really
The
good.
Joel era one, right? Oh, that's a really good one.
And I just kind of love Dick Contino. If you're unfamiliar with who this guy was, he was an actor, but he was more, I think, notably known as a musician. He was a really fantastic accordion player. Like, really, really fantastic accordion player.
You haven't heard Lady of Spain on accordion until you've heard Dick Contino play Lady of Spain on an accordion.
And so that was kind of like a fun thing for me because I watched the movie and I saw this guy and it was like silly and everything and they did a really good job riffing it, but then like I went and found out more about him, and I like MST3K episodes for that sort of experience of being like, what the fuck is this? Like, I want to find out what the fuck this is. So
Can we do these more often? I want to talk about more MST3K
Sure.
episodes.
we can do that.
I could go through so many. There's so many delightful ones, but those are our top picks for this day.
For
of
this day.
Vlogmas. I'll probably have 4 more tomorrow.
It's true. Eric did really have to, like, it was a torturous experience for him, like, having to pick just 4. Because he could really go on for a while. But maybe we'll do some more of these. Who knows?
Sure.
So anyway, so that is Vlogmas for today. If you are following along, you know that we're having a giveaway of some fabulous DVDs and some which are not fabulous. So just keep that in mind. But if you would like to enter our giveaway, just leave us a comment below on the video and subscribe to our channel. That's all you gotta do. If you want to have multiple entries, all you have to do is just comment on our video every day. We're gonna have like 20-some videos. The giveaway will be held on December 24th, so you have until December 23rd to get your comments and your views in. We'll see you tomorrow.
Smash that like button.